Hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're firing me, firing me. Yeah, you're firing me, firing me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my hand again. Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on the ground. I've got no shelter, I've got no escape. My life is a prison and I can't run away. I feel it in my bones. I'm losing it.
You're watching OLE, and this is a Dijak Hijack.
Oh no, we've been hijacked by Dijak again. Hopefully sometime soon he'll stop hijacking us and just show up for real. But until that day, I'm OLED Ed Fries. This is the Natural Astrid Pizarro. How you doing, Astrid?
It's been all right. Doing better now that we watched NXT. How are you doing?
How was your fake ice cream?
Hey, it was okay.
You can't have iced cream if it doesn't have cream.
I didn't know that, okay? I didn't buy it.
Coming from a person who's lactose sensitive, there's a difference.
I noticed.
Did
I-
nobody did nobody look at it and go, "Hey, this is green and says non-dairy on it" when they grabbed it?
No, I would have, but some people didn't, so it's okay.
Okay. Well, we're here to talk about NXT, and we got the chef right here cooking up some young talent tonight on the show. Tonight's theme was let's big up the young talent until the main event segment, of course, where we're bigging up talent who have done stuff, and we'll get more into done stuff in a bit. But what do you think is overall the episode of NXT tonight?
I think this was really good, at least for me. And it was like we had a lot of action that I don't think I had any like low moments tonight. I think it was only one moment. I only have one match that I kind of zoned out on, but other than that, I just felt like it was like a good pace for me.
Yeah, and it starts off hot and heavy like they promised us on Twitter. Street fight. Jaida Parker versus Michin, and woo! These women went to work. Me and Astrid, if you haven't seen it yet, please go ahead and give it a look on the Ole YouTube channel. We reviewed Takeover Rival last night on Ole, and there's a difference between that street fight and this street fight, isn't there? They used weapons as opposed to Baron Corbin and Bull Dempsey, who didn't use weapons.
Really?
I think Jaida Parker was a star of this match. Like, all right, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Jaida Parker is a star. Jaida Parker continues to make herself feel like a star. But I'm going to take a moment and step back and talk about Mia Yim for a second here. She made Jaida Parker look like a Hall of Famer tonight. She helped Jaida Parker look like the star Jaida Parker's going to be. And you knew how happy Mia Yim was with this match when it was over. Why? Because, again, for the second time, they caught her looking up after being beaten, smiling the biggest Cheshire Cat grin up at Jaida Parker as she celebrated. Mia Yim is doing such amazing work. And this is what Mia Yim should have been doing all along. I don't need her with the OC. I don't need her with anybody. I just need Mia Yim going out there and being the HBIC and just being a badass bitch who goes out there and just handles her business. Because that's what I know WWE doesn't want us to know that, but that's what the B stands for in HBIC. So
Boss in charge. It's the PG version.
Yeah, but like that's what she called herself on the indies. Yeah. Like that's her term for herself when it comes to her in-ring work. She did fantastic tonight. But you can't sing Jaida's praises without talking about how good of a job Mia Yim did to put her in a position to succeed, to give her the opportunities that she gave Jaida in this match. That dive to the outside where I go, no, Mia, you can't make that. No, Mia, I don't know if you can get that far out of those ropes with Jaida Parker sitting on a chair. And then Jaida moves and she eats the chair. And I'm like, I was wrong. You did make it all the way to the chair. Good job.
I've never seen so many memes in such a quick way, or just that moment alone. And it just it's just basically a little bit of how a badass Mia is, because not only is she able to show off herself in that way, but she's able to like uplift and show off Jaida even more. Because we said it here before, Jaida has been doing great work. She has that confidence, that look, the rest of she has it. Whatever she has what she needs to succeed. She just needs those kind of storylines to like kind of catapult her a little bit more and more to that, to the higher level, to put it like that. And this was definitely a good way to do that. And I kept thinking, like, even before the show started, it just, to me, it didn't matter who won. It just, to me, it was more about like how they looked at the end. And I was like, I'm happy with either one of them winning. But in the end, just like when you see not only Mia being kind of like this gatekeeper for NXT, but Jaida getting uplifted and highlighted in such a way. Oh, thank you. I can't do a heart. I'm terrible at it. There you go. But it just, this match is exactly what it needed to be and so much more. And I'm glad this happened. And I'm glad this was the opener too. I feel like this was exactly what we needed it to be. And to think later, we had, counting everything, we had, is it 3 women's matches? Yeah, no, wait, 1, 2. Yeah, 3 women's matches. And we still had like women's segments throughout the night, like we usually do. So it's NXT being NXT, highlighting the women as we usually do. And this match is another one that, even though it was a great opener, this could have been a great main event as well. But obviously, being that the contract's in, it was part of it. But I feel like it could have been in either position on the show, and it would have been great either way. But the girls killed it. It was like, once I got there, it was like, and that part with the thumbtacks and when like they have the back and forth. I did love when Mia has Jaida in that position. Jada's like, no, and then she reverses it and how that ends. Like, it's just brutal. But yes, get the table. HBK knows how to book the women. The women truly carry NXT. Yeah, it just feels like kind of like TNA with the knockouts. We had a point that the knockouts were really the highlight for TNA. And that's what it feels like with NXT here. It's like it's the women that really carry this brand. So, yeah, Chef HBK is over here cooking very well lately.
Yeah, I mean, he's made sure to focus on the women, good and bad. If the women are green, he's still throwing them out there. He's still making sure they get time. Level Up, even though I don't watch it, is an incredible product for those women because it continues to put women in the ring and an opportunity in front of a live crowd who's there to see. It's not the Florida Loop crowd. This is the NXT crowd that's coming to watch NXT television. So they're going to tell you what it is and how much they like it or don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And those matches are constantly featuring women, probably more than men's matches on Level Up, because they're bringing those younger women who need the time, and they're giving them TV time, even though it's not on national television, to get better, to show off who they are, what they can do, and to give them an opportunity to make it to the television programming. I love that of what they're doing there with that and how it's working. Cannot say anything better about Jaida Parker. She's a star in the making. She is a star for this division. All they have to do is nurture her and continue to bring her along. But she reminds me a lot of Tiffany Stratton. Obviously, vastly different, but she has that Tiffany Stratton it factor. There's something special about her and about the way they're presenting her that they know exactly what they're doing with Jaida Parker. They have a plan, and it might not be the speed that everybody else wants it to be, but they're making sure that bit by bit, she's improving on the microphone. She's improving in the ring. She's getting time. This match got lots of time, considering what it could have gotten. And it was at this point that I texted Asher and I'm like, oh, making Jaida look like a star. That's a good start to this show. And then, with about a half an hour into the show, I'm like, is the theme of this show just big up the young talent? Because it doesn't stop. We move right into our next segment. Ariana Grace. I love Ariana Grace. Her heavy sighs. Oh my God. It's so annoying and yet so delightful all at the same time. And then Karmen just breaks down. She's like, fine, what do you want? You want to talk? And she's like, no, I don't really want to talk. I'm just sitting here. And I'm just like, oh, she's so much like her dad. She just has that television presence. She has, and I know it's a word thrown around a lot right now, aura. She has a feeling about her. She makes you feel something when she's on your TV screen. We'll talk about people who don't have that later in the show, but Ariana has that in spades. And this is a pointless segment. It really is. Ariana talks about how she's sad she lost and she doesn't get to go on to take on the North American Women's Champion in Toronto, which, as we all know, all Canadians, anytime they're in Canada, they're in their hometown. Yep. By the way, Mel, you need to get yourself down to Florida, because apparently this Saturday, Eddie Thorpe is doing a DJ set at a club, and I know you want to be front and center at that show, so you might want to start getting that money together to book yourself a trip to Florida tonight. But no, Carmen's in there talking about this, and she's like, yeah, I get the feeling, I'm from Toronto too. And she's like, no, but you're not as Canadian as I am. And I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know if either of them are from Toronto. I really don't. I have no clue what part of Canada either one of them are from. Honestly, I thought NXT made up the fact that Carmen Petrovic was from Canada, to be honest. Just to have something to do with Natty. It wouldn't be WWE if they just all of a sudden changed someone's nationality. Tongaloa, Jinder Mahal, just saying.
Okay, so she is from, at least Carmen is from Toronto. So
okay. As Carmen's doing this and talking about it, Jacy, Jayne, and Jazmyn, as I call them, trashy, toxic redo, come in and go back to being the mean girls, which I hate because they're bad at it and they're not really entertaining. So here's the thing. When Mandy Rose was the mean girl, it was fun and entertaining because she was good at it. When Tiffany Stratton was the mean girl, she was good at it. When Jacy Jayne's the mean girl, she kind of sucks at it. And Jazmyn has no visible charisma.
She doesn't have it yet.
She doesn't have the eye, let alone it. But it sets up a match later on. Honestly, I thought they were setting up a match for next week. Apparently, the match was later.
Me too. I guess I missed out the wording for when they said it was for tonight. So when I was putting the card, because I write the card for the when we put it on YouTube, and I didn't put it in there for that reason because I was thinking it was for next week at first. So I was like, I had everything down and stuff for that, and then I double checked that Ariana's from Toronto as well. So there you go.
Spare change. Clink, 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 clink. Spare change. Clink, 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 clink. But no, again, it's a semi-pointless, fun segment. It featured 4 NXT women to put them on the show. It motivated a match. So it wasn't entirely pointless, but it wasn't important either. But it is what it is. We then get into the very heavy video package portion of tonight, which I loved. Normally, I'm not a big fan of heavy, like super heavy video packages. They set up through a backstage segment or a video package vignette every single match on the Heatwave card.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kudos to NXT. Kudos to NXT because they gave us so much good stuff. And honestly, there's nothing to talk about with these. They're just well done, well produced vignettes to explain who everybody is, what they're going for, and what their motivations are going into these matches. First one is Javon Evans. Has a real fun video package talking about how he's young, how this is his first real big opportunity, and how he hopes that he's going to come back from his first trip abroad. He had to get his passport for this trip. His first trip abroad, and he's hoping to come back 10 pounds heavier with that NXT championship. It was good. It didn't do a lot. It didn't tell us a lot of new stuff. But again, it introduces the people to Javon Evans, and it set up the main event, which was nice. No Catch Republic comes out for their match with Hank Tank. But first, Kalani Jordan gets a video package. And Kalani Jordan gets a very well done video package explaining that she's a gymnast and how in the gymnastics world, you know, it's all about me and me and me, and how championships can never be taken away from you in that world. Once you're a champion, you're always a champion. In WWE, that's different. This title can be taken away from me. So I got to make sure I go out there and I earn it. I'm like, okay. And then she brings up this fucking Lonnie bullshit. And I'm like, no! Stop it! Just stop with the Lonnie crap.
Just they're getting used to it. It's going to keep happening.
No, I refuse. I draw my line in the sand with my foot. No. I've gone as far as I go and I can't go no more.
No, it's going to keep happening. But I really love this because I feel like we don't know much about her life. And I feel it's one of the few times that we get to know about her life and her background. Because she said, oh, I'm a 5-time junior Olympic. And I like how both her and Sol, because Sol does the same thing later, they both give quotes to basketball players. I believe hers is Michael Jordan, and then and then LeBron for Sol. So I like how they basically give the same type of like promo itself, but like for each of them individually at the same time. So it just shows you how they're the same but also different too. And I really like how they portray that during both packages.
Yeah, it's a great video package. Again, it sets the stage for that match without having to have them on the show, without having to have them go face to face and make it feel like it's something it's not. It's just a fun video package to set up a match between two baby faces. Good friend Noel Taken jumps in the chat to say, I need his character to be more than I'm bouncy. I agree. Javon needs to be more than I'm bouncy. And I feel like we're going to get there. But at least he held his own in that main event segment. We'll get to that later. But I feel like he really gave us, he didn't give us more information, but he gave us more fire. He gave us more spirit. And again, we'll get into that when we get to the main event. But I think the main event segment did a lot for him in this. We then get the match between the No Catch Republic and, not the No Catch Republic, the New Catch Republic, and Hank Tank. And again, another segment where we make the younger stars look really good. Yeah. Did Hank Tank look really good in this match? Like,
yeah,
really good. Like, the match is fine. Like, it's a good television tag team match. Nothing to write home about. It's not 4 stars. It's a good 3.5 star, just good tag match. But I don't think I've ever seen Hank Tank look as good as they did tonight. Oh. They were in all the right spots for all the things they needed to do. I didn't feel like they were being carried by the New Catch Republic, but I definitely felt like being in there with the two of them obviously helped. I mean, if you can't have a good match with Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, you need to just get out of the business. But, like, they held their own. They really did a good job in this match. They did that double, like, shoulder tackle to the outside thing that was really cool. When Hank brought Pete Dunne up, when Pete Dunne had that it wasn't a triangle, but it was kind of like a triangle. He had his legs around Hank's head, and he had Hank's arm, and he was trying to bend it. It wasn't quite a triangle because the arm wasn't in the right spot for it. But Hank picks him up, and instead of just dropping him down like everybody does, he takes this great opportunity to just, like, take 4 steps backwards to lean into Tank, who's holding onto the tag rope, which was so great. Like, holding on to a tag rope, making the tag rope feel important, and make the tag to get involved in the match, and, like, slam Pete Dunne down, and then have Tank coming off the top. That was a really cool spot that I hope they continue to do, because it's very repeatable, but at the same time, it's a great looking spot. They lose the match, and the New Catch Republic wins, as they should. But Hank Tank come out of this, and I'm like, I like you guys a little more. I mean, I can't like it too much. It's Hank Tank, but they impressed me tonight. I was thoroughly impressed. I really liked this match. It got a 2 segments. It got a commercial break in between, which I thought was crazy that they took it. But again, they gave it time. They gave it time to develop. They gave it time to do its thing. And shockingly, if you give talented people time to do stuff, matches are okay.
I also feel like, don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the match, and I'm glad they got the spotlight because I feel like it showed them off more. But I also feel like they never had an opportunity like this before to, like, really show off any progress they have made, because we've seen them in, like, little, like, tag matches, but they feel like squash matches. So you don't get to see more from that. And then at that point, we started seeing them doing, like, more backstage segments. So we just didn't get much of that from them. And then seeing this tonight, I was like, I love how great they looked, but I was thinking, this is actually feels like the first opportunity they've got to really show off themselves as a team, and even, like, individually, if you think about it in the ring too. And it just made me think of, like, yeah, this is the first time I feel like I could actually see them have, like, a lengthy match, enough for it had time to breathe and give us something from them that we enjoyed. And I really love it. I'm glad for them that they got the spotlight, and I'm glad they called out the New Catch in this situation and make this happen, and this kind of create this opportunity for themselves. And I just hope they continue on with doing this. Even if they decide to go against another team later, it's like, hey, we got a loss, but we can face somebody else and win, or something like that, and get another match. because I enjoyed it and I want to see more from them. See it like having this type of spotlight. I feel like they needed it, and we usually don't get much from them. So this was very much needed at this time.
The other thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to this match is Booker and Vic. Boys, one of you needs to go. I know who I'd prefer, but at this point, I don't care which, as long as one of you gets the fuck out of there. Because Vic asked some stupid questions tonight. So did Booker, don't get me wrong. Booker did his usual, I'm going to say stupid shit. But at one point, Vic Joseph asks Booker T, one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time with Harlem Heat. I know Harlem Heat's before your time. I know you don't know who I'm talking about when I talk about Harlem Heat.
I know who you're talking about.
Sure you do. It's okay.
No, for real.
Oh, okay. You know about Booker T and Stevie Ray?
Yeah, his brother, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just teasing you. I know that you're a newer wrestling fan and Harlem Heat is definitely before your time.
Hey, my parents watched wrestling when I was younger. I know a couple of teams here and there.
We know Ed is
Yes,
a dinosaur, though.
STG, that's very true.
I really am. Harlem Heat was fabulous. One of the best tag teams ever. The audacity, Astrid knows all.
No.
But no, the idea that Vic Joseph could even imagine a world where Booker T and Stevie Ray didn't test themselves. Like, the fuck are you talking about, Vic? Like, they were multiple-time tag team champions in a time where WCW had some really good tag teams. That early 90s WCW tag team division, yes, there's a lot of bad teams there too. But there's a lot of good teams in there too. And like, people, I think, forget because of all the things Booker did on his own, how important Stevie Ray was to getting Booker to where he is. Because Stevie Ray was always the better tag team wrestler, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed Stevie Ray's work in the tag team. Because we all know Booker's the one who runs his mouth and says, Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you, blank, blank, blank. I can't say it. My melanin level's not high enough to say that word, as Alex Kane would say. But no, Vic's starting to get on my nerves with Booker T a little bit here. And I, like I said, I don't care which one of them goes, but one of them's got to go. And I prefer Booker to go. You know, now he's nationwide on ESPN, God forbid. Now more people have to hear his shitty podcast with Brad Gilmore, who by the way, is a bad host. I'm not a huge fan of Brad Gilmore as a host of that podcast. But then again, having to try to contain Booker must be a full-time job there.
But at the same time, you think about it, Booker's like almost in a Delulu state where he's doing commentary. And I feel like sometimes Vic doesn't help him out with that.
Booker T doesn't even remember Stevie Ray.
Oh my God.
It wouldn't be Booker. His school is pretty much a feeder system. But you could have a feeder system without having to have Booker T on television. Like, you can still pay Booker T to let NXT talent go to reality of wrestling. And by the way, don't act like Booker T is like not gaining out of this. People go to those shows more when the NXT talent comes to reality of wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, there's been very few reality of wrestling stars that have come to WWE. So when we start talking about feeder systems, they're not evolved. Hell, they're not even chaotic wrestling, which is a group up here by me, which has had the likes of Donovan Dijak, Ivar, Kofi Kingston, Tommaso Ciampa. There's a long, like, on their website they have a list of people who have come through the chaotic system that have ended up in WWE and WCW. Like, there's a long list from that school, mostly because Killer Kowalski ran the training school for a while before he started pass away. It changed to the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, where Dijak is now a trainer. He's now a part-time trainer over there, so chaotic wrestling is going to only get better. as the young talent from Chaotic Wrestling gets to be mentored by Dijak. But don't be bad-mouthing Disco Inferno. I mean, there's only one
Disco
thing.
who?
I mean, Disco Inferno had his time, but let's get this right. Alex Wright did one thing really, really well, and it's this. Mike does the swerve dance. I do the Alex Wright. As back to Booker, he craves the spotlight. He does. And I need the WWE needs to stop giving it to him. The same way they stopped giving the spotlight to Jerry Lawler. Just say it. Booker T and Jerry Lawler are starting to become a lot alike in a lot of ways that people aren't going to like. Disco's time was when the clock was broken. Disco Inferno is still, at all these years later, in my top 10 of jobbers in World of Wrestling. I know he doesn't like being called a jobber, but he was the greatest, one of the top 10 greatest enhancement talents of all time. Thank you, STG. 15 out of 10 for my Alex Wright dance. Moving on, we get Shawn Spears' video package where he talks about how he's going to leave his hometown of Toronto, Canada, with the NXT championship. Again, these video packages don't do a lot, but it's setting up all the things we need to know. He continues to talk about how he's here for the younger talent, to mentor them, to be there for them, to mold them. And it just so happens that NXT managed to bring up the name Brooks Jensen tonight. We'll loop all that back into Shawn Spears in a little bit. Again, these video packages don't give us a lot of information, but it's nice to see them doing this to set up the main event for the PLE this weekend without having to. Granted, they had their main event segment, but they didn't have to do a lot other than the main event segment. And the main event segment got to be shorter because of all the video packages. Brinley Reece comes out to take on Izzy Dame, to which I went, oh, this is going to happen. But first, Oro Mensah is backstage with Stevie Turner and Robert Stone, the worst fucking odd couple in wrestling history. And something about balls, something about not being able to have the balls. I don't know what the hell Stevie Turner and Robert Stone were talking about, but I do know that Stone announced that Myles Borne was going to take on Oro Mensah, and that Oro Mensah is barred from going to Canada, which is nice for him. It saves him travel from Orlando to Toronto, which is nice. But he's barred from going to Heatwave because they want to keep him out of the main event.
Well, to fill in your gap, the good news were he gets the match with Myles. The bad news is you're barred from Heatwave, but even better for him. He doesn't have to do all the travel.
But they argued for like 10 minutes about stupid shit that I don't understand. And I don't.
No, they were just like, you don't want to tell him. It's like, you don't have the boss to tell him. But it just funny things. I like how he interrupts everybody. It's like, no, tell me, what is it? Hurry up! I don't have time for this. It's like we don't either. Or thanks, thanks for the interruption.
No Canada Aura. I appreciated Aura trying to make this work. Disco's a jobber. Alex Wright wasn't booked properly. So much talent. Yeah, Alex Wright probably could have been. But I think, again, this is another story for another time. Be talking about my WCW stuff. We'll get to that another time. But yeah, there's definitely some things that they could have done with Alex Wright. Izzy defeats Brinley, and Tatum tries to talk to her and chases her out of the ring. Izzy Dame has zero aura. She comes out and I just go, oh, cool. It's Izzy Dame. Back to Twitter.
At least you recognized her.
Well, yeah, because they already showed me Karmen and she didn't have green on.
Dang it.
And there was a big sign that said Izzy Dame behind her. So
well, I'm glad you didn't miss that. Good.
No. Big sign. I'm good. I like big signs that tell me their name. It's nice.
I see.
For all the attacks he did on Paige, he probably got his passport revoked. Maybe. But I mean, honestly, who wants to go to Canada? I mean, really. Especially Toronto. Like
Mm.
it's one thing to go to Edmonton. It's another thing to go to Toronto. What did you think of Izzy Dame versus Brinley Reece?
It was a match, and it happened, and I'm glad Tatum was there so she can run off Izzy from there. It just, she reminds me a little bit of Zoe because I feel like she has the talent, but she doesn't have the personality though. And I feel like that's a downfall for her in the end because people cannot connect with you if you don't have that personality there present. Like people don't know whether to cheer or boo you if you think about it that way. And it's like, and it's like I liked because when she was with Kiana, it gave her a little bit of a personality there. But again, I have mentioned before is that we don't know much about her story. They give us a little bit about her story now, about her volleyball background, but still, just like aside from that, there's not much to her. There's no personality. You can tell she doesn't connect with the crowd because there's no really crowd reactions when she comes out. So in the end, it's just like I feel like they really need to like build her up in that way.
Yeah, and Mike the Ref says Izzy has the personality of a Zelda NPC. And Noel asks a very interesting question. Is Izzy Dame the volleyball girl? Yep, that's the one. That really cool vignette that made us care about Izzy Dame that we've already forgotten about that was 2 weeks ago. I want to like Izzy Dame. She's got an interesting look. She dresses in green, but she's another generic blonde who does fine ring work, but I hate to say this because this person wasn't the talent level that Izzy Dame is even at. Eva Marie. Eva
Right.
Marie. Eva Marie made a very good point when she came up and she said, I want to be all red everything because it was different than anybody else on the roster. It made her unique. It made her, for better or worse, it made her noticeable. Now, granted, she didn't have the in-ring talent to translate it into anything important. But when you see Eva Marie, you know it's Eva Marie. When I see Izzy Dame, I have to remember that it's Izzy Dame. like I said, it's not that bad, Noel. Like, it was a really good. We talked about how much we liked the vignette, how it made her feel personable, how it related us to her. And 2 weeks later, we're talking about how bland and boring she is again. That's a problem.
Yep.
It reminds me of the early days Bird Lady. It can be recovered from, but it reminds me of Lyra Valkyrie in the beginning.
Plus, with her, for me, Izzy gives me energy. She's like, if you kind of see her, she's taller than most of the girls, and I feel like she could benefit from like learning from somebody, maybe like a Raquel, maybe a Naya, to like not only her moves but her personality show a little bit more there. Because I know Raquel's not the greatest, but she has definitely improved in that aspect. But I feel like, especially from Naya, it's something that she could learn from, of like showing off her personality where she's wrestling. And I feel like maybe showing her off to like the bigger girls, maybe a Tamina, somebody like that. I feel like she could probably learn from those like bigger girls and like taller girls and see even like this is how you can do wrestle but still show off your personality here while you're wrestling. So it's like I feel like you can do that and highlight her more as one of like the taller girls on the roster. Yeah. So I would
I
do something
believe
like
so.
that with her.
Yeah, she's built at 5'10". I'm just looking something up because I think I have a name of somebody who I think I would want Izzy Dame to talk to and get down, and it wouldn't be hard to get this person down there. I just got to make sure that I have. Yes, I do. You know who Izzy Dame reminds me of? Who she could be if she puts in the work and they find something? Michelle McCool.
Yeah.
I think she looks a little like Michelle McCool. I think she's got that same vibe. Like I said, they're both 5'10", which is what I was looking up just now. But like, I think that's the kind of person who I think needs to have a sit down with Izzy Dame and be like, this is how you do this. And even have Mark come in and talk to her. And have Mark sit down and talk to her because, you know, at 5'10", she's definitely a bigger, like you say, a bigger girl on the women's roster. It's bigger. I wouldn't mind having Mark come in and try to teach her how to wrestle like a big man. I understand Taker has a foot on her, but I feel like Taker, the difference between Taker and his competitors and Izzy and the other girls in the division, with the exception of like Lash Legend, I think there's a lot of similarities there that having a sit down with Taker and McCool, I think would do Izzy Dame a lot of good, especially with helping Izzy find something in herself. Michelle McCool is remembered because she was iconic at being a character. Good or bad, that character doesn't always age well, but Michelle McCool was the pinnacle of what Jacy Jayne wants to be. So I think it wouldn't be a bad idea just to bring Michelle McCool and Undertaker down to the PC and have them do a weekend. Have them do a training session with some of these television talents and have them do a character course, do a promo course, have them get in the ring with some of the big, like, how great would it be to see Obafemi get in the ring with Taker? Or you get in the ring with other people and have Taker there watching and have him give Obafemi some advice. Not that Oba needs a lot of advice, but, I mean, Taker's going to be able to give him, you know, so much great advice. No, I don't necessarily mean that she needs to do choke slams and things like that. I just think that there are things that she can do being a taller woman that Michelle McCool can help her do. Because Michelle McCool didn't do, you know, leg drops and choke slams. Michelle McCool was a very fluid and technical wrestler. And I think there's a lot that Izzy Dame could learn from Michelle McCool. Yeah, Taker knows a lot about the chokeslam and things like that, but we forget how watching new Taker versus watching old Taker, like 90s Undertaker, late 90s Undertaker, there's a lot of special in late 90s Undertaker that people don't remember of that man. And I think that there's a lot that the two of them could impart on Izzy Dame and the rest of the locker room. Speaking of people who could use a little bit of teaching, we go to the classroom for Chase U. Andre Chase is giving us, you know, a history of Toronto, where the only real history is that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa won the NXT tag team titles in Toronto. Funnily enough, they're challenging for the challenging for the WWE Tag Team Championships on SmackDown in Toronto. I think they're going to win them too, by the way.
That'd be cool.
I think that's the reason we got a DIY reference here, is because I think they're winning those tag titles on Friday. But basically, this is all about Ridge and Duke Hudson talking. And we finally find out what the drama was last week between Duke and Ridge. Ridge helped Duke win. By the way, I completely missed that when we did the review of that tag match. That, like, I remember him pushing Andre out of the way. I have zero recollection of him helping Duke get the pin. Like, they showed me the pictures, and I go, why did you doctor pictures to make him look like he helped you? I don't remember this. It's a fucking Mandela thing. I don't remember this at all whatsoever. It has been 1 week.
This reminds me of when Ethan attacked Oro and Noam Dar, and you're like, no, it was Gallus taking the credit for it.
It was always Gallus. Yeah,
and I was like, no, they never said it was them. The timing of this is just amazing. No, I like them coming up with the pictures though, and they're like, but why? Why would you do it? And I like his explanation there though, just thinking of the fact that he's like, no, I just want to be a part of a group and I want to be part of a family. You guys have given me that. I'm like, oh, you're staying here though. You're not going to Toronto. They told you.
Yeah, so. They told Ridge he has to stay, that he's not able to go to Toronto because they want to win clean. And I'm like, what does it matter if you win clean? You just want to win, right? Like,
it's like, you won and you didn't even notice that it was clean or not. So what does it matter if he can do it again?
Mike the ref says he's cheering 100 bits for me to get a new cleaning cloth for my eyes. You know, I do have a new prescription here, so maybe that's part of the problem, but, you know, we'll see. But thank you, Mike. We do appreciate the bits. They go a long way to helping us here at our local establishment. Oh boy. Here's where I'm gonna potentially get canceled.
Let's go.
We have the face-to-face with Lola Vice and Roxanne Perez.
Did we?
Oh, did we? Oh boy. I give the girls credit for going out there and doing the thing. And I may be in the minority. I know I'm not in the minority of people on screen right now. This was a very bad promo segment. Neither girl, in my opinion, did very good here. I've seen lots of praise for this segment on Twitter. I don't know if they watched the same segment I did. Noelle says, you are. I did some research, and the Lola Vice story is actually true. She on the Luke Thomas show, which is it's on the Sirius XM platform. Luke Thomas does a show where he talks to MMA fighters. Oh God. Oh, for shit. No. Bad Mike. I've told things like I know how I cry when I'm starting to tell a story that's hard to tell, that's personal, that makes me feel things. Lola didn't cry the way she was. I didn't believe Lola's tears. I believe that it's a painful memory that hurts her. And everybody deals with grief and tears differently. But these felt forced and fake, even amongst a real story that actually happened. And while it's a heartbreaking story at 14 years of age, to have to give up being a potential Taekwondo master, to change your reality and to start providing for your family, to, at 14, to provide for your brothers and sisters because your dad was trying to do it all himself and your mom was sick. Like that's a real thing, and that hurts, and that's bad. And, I feel for her on that. But, Noelle says somebody backstage told her to cry. I feel like that story should make you cry every time you tell it. Like, I don't feel like it's something you should have to be told. Her shaking her ass with crying was different. Yeah, that was something at the end of this segment. I didn't feel like it was authentic with Lola. And I'm going to let Astrid pick up on this because I know you want to talk about your favorite, Roxanne Perez, and the rough time she had here with her own stuff.
It's just, first, the tears from Lola made me not believe the story. They made me doubt it. And that shouldn't be it, because it should have been more of a story that I should feel like I could feel like relatable towards myself. Working hard and migrating from Puerto Rico, being here. I get her story, but at the same time, with her tears, I didn't believe it, and I couldn't relate to it because of that, because it felt so fake and forced. And then her, like, not even dancing 5 seconds later doesn't help the story at all. It makes me feel like it's even worse that it's not real. It's like, if I have to Google if your story is real, we have a problem. We do, because I should have believed you from the start with your tears, and I didn't. That's the first thing. And with this one, I was so disappointed because the timing here was so terrible. There were so many moments of, like, Roxanne would talk, and then she will end up being quiet, and then she's kind of like waiting for Lola to say something, and Lola's like kind of like thinking, I don't know if she was thinking of what to say, but she was like looking around and then huffing and puffing here, where she's like, and I'm like, no, it's your turn, say something. and she wouldn't. They had a very big delay within each other, and it feels so awkward because when you have the like awkward silence and the crowd doesn't know what to do, again, that's another problem there too. And it's like you could feel like the timing was off because even Lola said her story, and then Roxanne ended up interrupting her at one point because she didn't know she was done. It's like, yeah, I get your story, but it's like I understand it. And then at that moment, it's just like that interaction that felt really awkward as well with the timing. And then I'm like, what is happening with these two? I don't know what it was here, but the timing was very, very awful. It definitely didn't work out. It didn't help the segment. I feel like their beef on Twitter was better than this on screen. And
Yeah.
it really was. That back and forth of like, you're not Latina enough, you don't speak Spanish and things like that. I was like, why didn't they bring this up during the promo? They could have, continued that in the promo. And even Lola's like, oh, I'm gonna make you speak more Spanish than you ever have. Where was that attitude here? Nowhere to be found. And it's like, I don't know what happened here, but it just didn't connect for me. It really didn't. And I was so disappointed because I know it was partially both of them. It wasn't just Lola. It just felt so awful here. I was glad it was over, but it was over. I was so done with it.
Yeah. Noel hopping in saying Lola had to summon the emotions for like she could have been crying for real, and maybe she just didn't want to cry, didn't try not like. There has to be something more to this than what it was, but it just I've seen praise from it from people that I respect, and I'm just like, did we all watch the same segment? Because I don't know. We have another great Ethan Page video package for the main event, talking about wanting to leave Toronto as champion, and there's a lot of good in that. Again, there's no depth to any of these. It's just the basic. Here's the story to explain the four-way, which is fine. They've built the four-way fine enough. I'm okay with the four-way. But it's a nice reminder of this is what's going on. This is what's happened. This is what we're building to. Basic, cut and dry, but it does the job it needs to do. Mike the Ref. Roller reminding me of Homer Simpson crying with silly needing a limitless supply of donuts. Yeah. We then have Charlie and Tavion trying to get Myles psyched up for his match, while Damon comes in with brass knuckles, very excited, and everybody's like, no, we're not using the brass knuckles. And Charlie says something to Myles, and he goes, huh? You say something? Good job, Baby Orton. By the way, shout out to Amanda Savage for saying that we need to see Baby Orton versus Real Orton.
Yes, we do.
I do want to see that match at some point if we can. Mel's favorite segment of the night, Eddie Thorpe DJing at a club over the weekend, and him having a segment here with the ladies. I say the ladies because I have no idea who the fuck they were.
Danny was in there. She's the only one I recognized.
Oh, Danny Palmer? Didn't even
Yeah, she was on it.
She was
next to her.
gone so long, I forgot what she was. I know the name, but like,
yeah.
But yeah, no, there's a group of girls there, and Lexis King comes up, shit talking EDM music and talking about rock and roll. And I thought we were gonna get into Rap is Crap with the Mid-Southern Rednecks from WCW. There's an old faction where they made a song called Rap is Crap with Mr. Perfect. It's an awful song. It's an West Texas Rednecks. Thank you. Couldn't remember the exact name. Yes, the West Texas Rednecks. Oh God. End of the line WCW was real bad for a period of time there. But yeah, we're getting Eddie Thorpe versus Lexis King. Are you excited? Come on, Ashley. Tell me how excited you are.
Not enough, no.
Mike says we needed Curtis Axel to complete the segment. We get Oro versus Myles. This was a good match. It was all right. Baby Orton's improving. That drop kick that Vic was talking so gushingly about, where he completely missed Oro, was a pretty bad spot. But otherwise, it was a pretty good match. Damon Kemp tries to make Baby Orton use the brass knucks, and that causes Baby Orton to get Myles Borne. I've got to stop calling him Baby Orton like I write in my notes. It gets Myles distracted, which allows Mensah to hit the big move for the win. Gets a big win. It doesn't make Myles look any worse because he's semi-protected with the way the finish works out. And it continues the downfall of Damon Kemp and the no quarter catch crew. Spoiler warning. Go ahead and I'll wave my hand like this again when we're done with the spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers for TNA, go ahead and go away for 5, 4.
Or just mute us.
2, 1. So the no quarter catch crew showed up in TNA to attack the Rascals over the weekend at the TV tapings in Chicago. What are your thoughts?
You didn't say Candy Crew. When you said no quarter catch crew, I was going to say who? Because I'm saying you're saying the Candy Crew. No, again, this is just, more than anything, just to progress that story, because if you see it there in the locker room when Damon gets there with the brass knuckles, he sees Tavion on the other side. He's like, kind of like, what are you doing here? I'm like, did he forget that he's like, I guess, in after winning the match? And he's like, well, he's here. And then if you notice, even with the entrance, because we do get Myles and then Tavion and Charlie in the middle as like the leader of the group, and then Damon's on the side, just like not participating at all in this. And even outside, we get that back and forth between him and Charlie, and he's like telling Myles, "No, use the brass knuckles." And that's such a huge distraction for Myles. And at that point, it's like Charlie's like, "No, like don't worry about it. Like let him just win." And I like having Orr taking advantage of that because I feel like Orr needed that win. But also at the same time, like you said, doesn't hurt Myles, and it progresses that story of like they're having miscommunication between Charlie and Damon being there. And even like we talked about just now in TNA, Damon wasn't even part of that either. So it just keeps going with that storyline even further, which I like to see how it progresses even through the night tonight.
All right, we're back. For those that muted us, welcome back. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where that goes in the future. Obviously, it's, we know where it's going. Damon's getting kicked out of this group. But it'll be a nice way to get there. Really, really good Wesley Obafemi video package. We get extended portions of Obafemi talking. But again, it's hard to say how good it really is for Obafemi because anybody can sound good when you can be edited and cut up into short little spirits. But I think Obafemi did a really good job. I think that the visuals here are really good. They constantly had the shadow of Obafemi behind Wesley on that little those like garage door things that they have in the back of the arenas. I thought that was really cool to have like the constant shadow moving to like encompass Wesley's shadow with that. I thought that was really cool way to do this. Very excited for this match. Wesley's one and only opportunity, singles opportunity for the North American Championship. And again, if you want to hear our predictions and our previews for these, please make sure you check us out Saturday afternoon. We're going to have it go live. We're recording it in a couple days with our good friend Stephanie Hypes is coming in to join us. Astrid's good friend, not mine. I've never met the lady. I can't wait to meet her. I'm a fan of her work, but Astrid, of course, the booker extraordinaire, like Chef Shawn here. Astrid, cooking up some great pre and post shows. And well, who do we got in the post show? From the Angle podcast, we got Joey Carney coming in. So Astrid doing some serious work on the booking side for this run to go ahead and get us going. We find TNT, Tyson and Tyreek are fighting with Gallus, and that match is not happening apparently tonight because of them getting into a fight backstage, which is fine. I don't mind when you push matches off because at least they gave us a reason. They didn't just pretend like we were stupid and we didn't remember the match was happening. They gave us a segment to push the match back a week. I'm okay with that. And by the way, Tyson and Tyreek looked like they were getting the better of it for a little while until Gallus got the chair. They were doing pretty well. So I don't hate this. It gives me a reason to want to see the match next week. Brinley's talking backstage with Idris and Malik, and she's really down and she's not positive, and the words of Izzy Dame are starting to get to her, and Malik's trying to cheer her up, and Idris Enofe is being Idris Enofe, and I can't wait for him to go somewhere else because I really want to dive more into this Malik Blade singles run and Malik Blade with Brinley Reece. I think there's a tiny bit of chemistry there that I'm okay with. Tiny bit. I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm done with it. I'm done with Idris Enefe though. I don't need him no more. He can go away. Find something for him to do. And then the OC come in like a bat out of hell and yelling and screaming about wanting to, I think, take on the OTM after Jaida's big win tonight. They're very angry about it and they want to take on OTM. So I'm assuming we'll get that next week too. I'm hoping that's a street fight too. I think that would make a lot of sense. I think that'd be a lot of fun to have that be a street fight too. No. I downright disagree with the statement that Idris Enefe is the better wrestler. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, and that's what wrestling. The best thing about wrestling is that we can all have differing opinions. Like Mike the Ref, in his obviously wrong opinion that Lola Vice is, going to win the NXT championship, just like my good friend Andre C. My tag team partner on Marvel Talk. But they obviously have their wrong opinion about Lola Vice becoming the NXT Women's Champion this weekend. No, bad Mike. No.
Somebody's copy and pasting this a lot.
Don't make me put you in timeout, Mike. Don't make me put you in a timeout. Astrid, you had a wrestling match tonight. Talk about your wrestling match with Carlee Bright here.
With Kelly's daughter.
Oh, please. All right. Please, for the love of God, no. I don't need to see any more of Kelly on my television screen. I saw her. I saw enough of her when she was on my television screen. I didn't have a choice. Please don't bring her back more.
She's the only woman to defend the world championship. We got to give her some credit here. Come on, dude.
What world championship?
No, when she teamed up with Edge? You don't remember that? Oh my God. It was when Vicky was against Edge.
No, I remember. It's bad, which is why I don't like to remember it.
No,
right, so my memories of Kelly, extreme expose, all kinds of bad shit that she did afterwards. By the way, I'm not a huge fan of extreme expose. I think extreme expose was a good segment for the time and place where we were in the world. However, it doesn't have any right on television now. And I give her credit for becoming a better wrestler. But I want her to continue to be a mother to her twins and leave the wrestling behind.
I think the only thing that makes me that makes me feel weird about it is just she was 19, I think, or 20 when she did that. Like, she was so freaking young. And I think she retired officially when she was 35. So I was like, that's probably the youngest people I've ever seen retire like that. But that's just me, I guess. But no, I enjoy really Carlee and Wendy. I feel like they did really well together. Carlee was able to show off a little bit more about herself tonight, which is exactly what we needed. And again, it's like Wendy's taking over this women's division. So I'm just curious to what this is gonna lead to. Like her having this darker character, and I want to see, or hoping to see, some kind of video package telling us how this change happened, like why this change is happening. I want more background on that too as the weeks go by. So that's something that I'm curious about. But again, Carlee was able to show off a little bit more, and she was at ringside with Kendall. So now I remember Kendall because of Carlee. Thank you, Carlee. Appreciate that. Now I can kind of put them together.
I'll forget next week, but yeah.
I know you would, but I it'll be easier for me now. But no, I feel like it was a good showcasing for Carlee, though. She was able to show off a little bit more of her in-ring work here that she had done before. So I was really, really happy with the performance here.
No, I agree. I really liked the work that Carlee Bright did in this match. I thought she was featured very heavily without having to win the match. I think they did a really good job tonight of making sure that they featured the younger talent without necessarily needing all the younger talent to go over. Hank Tank didn't go over, but I feel like they got a real big rub after their match. Jaida Parker did go over and needed to go over, and it worked very well for her and her character and the development that they're working with them. So I think that there's a difference between what's going on here. But no, I think Carlee Bright, again, every time I think of Carlee Bright, I just smile a little bit because she's delightful. But at the end of the day, like, she had a really good showing here. Is she great in the ring? No, she's still very green, but she was in the right places to do the right thing. Her selling was all right. She's improving week on week, and I'm excited to the next time I see her. She has a personality. She has an aura. When I see her come out and they say Carlee Bright, I go, Bright. And I do a little smile. And it's not forced. I enjoy it. I like seeing her on screen.
Okay, I need you to record that reaction when she comes out next time so I can compare it to this one.
Okay. We'll work on it. We get a video package finally for the NXT champion, Trick Williams, as we get ready to go into the main event segments. And again, nothing fantastic, nothing real new, but just a nice, good segment where we have Trick talking about how great he did and, you know, everything that we got going on. It's all kinds of good stuff here. We move on to Ava and Karmen back. Oh, I'm sorry. I really wanted to skip this, but apparently I'm not allowed to. Jazmyn Nix defeats Karmen Petrovic when Jacy Jayne interferes. All right, moving on. No, I'm just kidding. Do you want to talk about Jacy Jayne helping Jazmyn Nix win?
I think the only thing that I do like the ending with how she did the Pele kick and everything, and her kicks look really nice. Like her kick up was another thing that was really like really well done. But I feel like I would have preferred if Karmen won this, though. I feel like it was more of her time than Jazmyn. And again, Jazmyn's another one that I like her in ring work, but I wanted a little bit more of her personality. And I feel like we're not going to get much of it because she's with Jacy. And Jacy is like the voice of the group. So I want to hear more from her and see more from her in that aspect. And I feel like we're not getting enough because of Jacy being involved in there. I did like the way that when Jacy went to get involved, I like how Karmen just jumped up and stepped on her both of her hands at the same time. I was like, that was really well done. The timing was really great there. But I feel like I liked the match. I didn't like Karmen losing this though. But again, it also leads to what we have later on.
Yeah, which is a backstage segment between Ava and Karmen, where she says, I don't care if I have to do it myself. I want my hands on both of them. And she goes, well, you don't have to worry about it. A friend of yours came in and you guys got a tag team match on the Countdown show. She's like, Natty, where's Natty? Natty's at home because Natty hasn't signed her new contract and potentially she might be headed out the door by the end of the summer. But Karmen has a new best friend. Ariana Grace! Yay! Ariana, the Toronto girls are going to get their moment in Toronto on the pre-show. Shit, I have to watch the fucking pre-show now.
Hey, at least we know there's something in the pre-show ahead of time.
That is a help, and we don't have to, randomly me to text Astrid.
Mhm.
Astrid! The Schism match is on the pre-show. Hurry up! We finally get a Sol Ruca video package. It's the final video package of the night, and it goes ahead and talks about Sol Ruca's time in collegiate gymnastics and how it led her to the WWE and everything she's got going on. And she goes, you know what? The ladder match was my environment. It was a match that was made for me. But I lost to the better woman on that night. And they showed Kalani winning. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. It's a nice video package. It sets up babyface versus babyface. It doesn't make them pretend like one of them's a heel. And we're going to get a good match at the pay-per-view, and we'll move on with our lives. And Jaida Parker will take on and defeat Kalani Jordan for that title very, very soon. Fingers crossed. Prayers left. We then get a rundown of the Heatwave card, which is the main event, which is going to be the Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Men's Championship. Lola Vice versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruca for the NXT North American Women's Championship. Oba Femi versus Wes Lee for the Men's North American Women's the Men's North American Championship, not the Men's North American Women's Championship. That would be weird. Then we also have the tag team match between Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Naxium is taking on Chase U. So that'll be a fun match. And then we have the pre-show match that we already discussed that we just got made between the Toronto girls versus Trashy Toxic. Mike the Ref says, Sol Ruka, the eel of the NXT, like Orton is the Viper. Yeah, she's fantastic, and that Soul Snatcher is chef's kiss. She can do it to anybody, and she can do it out of nowhere. It's great. I think there's big things ahead for her in her future. And then we get to the main event segment. It is the contract signing between Ethan Page, Shawn Spears, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams. And everybody's picking on Javon for being 20 years old and being happy to be here and having his first opportunity at a premium live event. Oh, yeah, we should probably talk. We'll talk about him afterwards, Astrid. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of the private chat. We'll talk about him in a minute. I didn't have it written down in my notes. But we have this back and forth between everybody, and everybody's picking on Javon for being, the young kid. He's like, I have never heard that before. I'm young. I don't know what I'm doing. This, that, the other thing. But there's an interesting thing here. Some of the other guys in this match, the heels in this match specifically, talk about their accolades and the great things that they've done in their careers. I had a look at these great things that they've done in their careers. And Shawn Spears had a great career in OVW. He won some singles championships there. He won the WSW heavyweight championship recently when he was on the Indies before he came back to NXT after leaving AEW. He's had some singles success, and he's had some significant promotions where he's held a singles championship. Oh, and then there's Ethan Page. Now, I preface this with, I like Ethan Page. I think Ethan Page is vastly underrated by the promotions he's been in. I think he hasn't gotten nearly the opportunities that he should have in the promotions he's been in. However, I am going to sit here and categorically deny that Ethan Page has many accolades to discuss among himself of real promotions that are not just regional championships that he wins at indie promotions. When you go to big name promotions, every championship that Ethan Page has won has been a tag team championship. And almost all of them were alongside Josh Alexander and their run as the North. And again, I think Ethan Page is a star. I think Ethan Page is world championship caliber. I think Ethan Page is winning the NXT championship this weekend. However, he has zero right to talk about his accolades as a singles competitor, because as a singles competitor in promotions that matter, he has none. At least Trick has the NXT Men's Championship. As he says, I may be the person with the least amount of experience that's ever held this championship. But guess what? I'm getting better day in and day out. I'm putting in the hard work. I'm going to do this. And Javon Evans is like, look, you guys want to keep calling me a 20-year-old kid. That's fine. You want to keep doing that? That's fine. But I'm going to sit here and I'm going to beat your ass. And he got up in Shawn Spears' face and I'm like, there you go, kid. Show some fire. Show some. I like that. And then the moment where the baby faces dispatch the heels, they put them both through tables. And Javon Evans laser focused on that NXT championship. Mm-hmm. And he goes to reach for it, and Trick just grabs it and holds it. And he's like, back down, young OG. Back down. This is my title. And the young OG is just keeping an eye on that championship. His eyes never left the championship. I love what they did with Javon Evans here. He's not going to win this match. He shouldn't win this match. But I like the idea of putting him in there with guys who are going to be able to make sure to get the best out of him, to elevate him, so that maybe he is the one to take down Obafemi. I feel like he might be the guy to take down Obafemi in the future for the North American Championship. I think that could be something you could give this kid as a this is going to prepare him to go back down the card. Mm-hmm. But it's a good spot to put him in a fatal 4-way, because honestly, who would you rather have in this spot instead of Javon Evans? If it's going to be a fatal 4-way, I'd love to hear some of the names that people would give me of people they'd rather have in that spot. Because I think they're all going to be about the same as Javon Evans. Mike the ref saying Ethan Page isn't involved, Izzy Dame. That's being a little mean to Ethan Page. Like, Ethan Page has a character. He has some charisma. He knows who he is and what he does, and he has, when he comes out, you know what you're getting. His bad theme music aside, he's talented in the ring, and he can cut a promo that makes you believe in him. And he has a good match, and you feel something when you watch him wrestle. He's not bland and boring, and I forget all the things I know about him every time I see him. What did you think of this main event segment?
I think one of my favorite lines, though, is when Shawn Spears is talking a little bit too much, and he just tells him, "Can you tell me the experience that you have holding this championship?" It's like, crickets. He's like, "Exactly, you don't have any." And it's like that moment, I was like, oh my gosh. And I love one thing that reminds me a lot of Trick in this aspect. He already has the crowd in the palm of his hands in such a way. It's kind of scary, but in a good way. Because how does he go, I am, and the crowd goes, bouncy. I was like, this guy just got here yesterday. Like, what do you mean everybody's repeating what he's saying already? And it just reminds me of like that kind of energy that Trick has, that it makes the crowd like so like glued to him. And it's like, I don't know how he does it, but I love it. I love the moment, like that moment that he has with the crowd before he really keeps going. Is like the timing that he has with the crowd, and they're able to like have it back and forth there. Nobody's able to do anything like that in this whole segment but him. But I like the way that he goes like, oh, I'm a 20-year-old, I'm very young, like who hasn't said that? Like I've heard that before. And I love him coming out. I was like, no, I'm like, yeah, I'm young, but you also never held the championship, so you also can't say anything about me because I haven't had the championship either. And like you said, thinking about that part when they put the heels through the table, and he has that timing with the championship, reminds me of when he pulled the championship from underneath in that whole segment, the timing of it there. It's like, how is he so young and has that experience that he's able to take that championship, put it right in the middle where it needs to be for that whole shot with all the 4 guys in the ring? It just reminds me that his timing is very impeccable in that aspect. I feel like a lot of people don't have that, and he definitely has it. And overall, like, just thinking about the fact like in Ethan Page is like, I feel like this is his crowning moment. I feel like this is the moment that he's able to like really shine and say, I did this on my own. And that's why I feel like he's definitely the one that has to win this match in Toronto. I feel like it's exactly that moment of like, for other people that have talked about me, this is the exclamation point. And I can't even begin to imagine the promo that he's going to say, how cocky he's going to be saying that I had a one-on-one match and I didn't win, but I had 3 other people against me and I was able to win this match. Like, I cannot begin to have him say that. And I feel like him and Trick would be able to have a back and forth when Trick gets a rematch as well. So it wouldn't surprise me either. And like Noel had pointed it out before, it's like, for Javon, the only thing I would like to see is more than him saying that he's bouncy. And we got that tonight. We got a little bit more fire and motivation from him. I just love seeing it. It was just amazing. I was like, just keep going, keep talking, because you're doing great. But I really love that moment. I feel like the veterans were also helping him in that aspect of like making him shine through and really like show him off during the segment in itself. And I feel like they did really well with the segment overall. I feel like this is exactly what it needed to happen.
Yeah, and as Noel says, so we're all agreed, Trick is losing. I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's the right call. I think Trick is better chasing. Like Sami Zayn, I think he's a better chaser than he is a champion.
Yep.
And right now, there's a lot of things with this TNA partnership that I want to see. And I urge you, please make sure you watch the preview show, because I love to fantasy book, and I've got a great fantasy booking for how this show goes off the air. So make sure you go ahead and watch that show. But speaking of that show and coming to the end of that show, we come to the end of our show. So Astrid, tell the good people where they can find us the rest of this week.
I keep forgetting about Brooks Jensen. I know you don't like him, but geez.
Fine. Brooks Jensen was addressed tonight by Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels came out and said that Brooks Jensen is a drunk, and that's why we haven't had him on our shows, and he's been an annoying little bastard who keeps trying to get into the arenas, and we don't want to deal with him. So you know what? We're going to bring him into the arena next week so we can talk to me and Ava and see if we can even work with this motherfucker, or we're just going to fire him. There. Is that what you want me to say about Brooks Jensen?
Pretty much, yeah. Really well done.
By the way, Brooks Jensen is going to either help Shawn Spears win this match or try to help Shawn Spears win this match and cost him the match. Either way, he is going to be involved in the main event on the side of Shawn Spears because he's the person that Shawn Spears has been talking about all this time.
One big thing too, I'm glad that Shawn mentioned it because I know there was a lot of people having back and forth on social media of believing this. When Brooks posted one of the videos, he said he got released from his contract, and a lot of people believed it. So I'm glad that Shawn Michaels said it during this whole segment. It's like, no, he was not released. He was told to take a sabbatical and get himself together, kind of thing. So that's all we wanted him to do. He hasn't been released. We just told him to take his moment, basically have a timeout. But he's been here in the live events and in the shows instead of taking that time out. So I'm glad that that was addressed too, because a lot of people kept going back and forth on that. You muted yourself.
Noel says he should have kept himself out of Fallon's bar, which I wholeheartedly agree with. And oh no, Millie, you missed the show. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Millie, if you want, tomorrow afternoon, this will be uploaded on YouTube, so you can go ahead and check it all out and go ahead and get in the comment section on the YouTube channel. At our local establishment on YouTube, you can go ahead and get in there and go ahead and give it a like. And if you haven't given us a subscribe, as we're building on the road to 1,000 subscribers, we're getting there. We're trying to get monetized. So we're on the path to the first portion of monetization where we can start doing channel memberships. And then we're going to be on the road to the second level of membership where we can start running some ads on YouTube and trying to earn some money for this so we can put it back into the business so you guys can get better shows, better graphics, and things like that. But, Astrid, where can Millie find us next so that she's not late next time?
As I say, you can find us, not just me, us this week. The pre-show is Saturday afternoon. I keep forgetting what day because I mix it up with the recording date in my mind. And then Sunday night after Heatwave, we do have Joey with us to do the post-show. And then back again on Tuesday with this one right here as we talk NXT past Heatwave. So, and hopefully the Julia debut.
Millie Rose says, I want to shout out about the street fight. Dang it, I'll go back and watch anyways. Millie, if you want to go ahead and talk about the street fight, go ahead and leave your thoughts while I'm going ahead and giving my pitch about where you can find me and everything else that we've got going on. You can go ahead and leave your thoughts there, and we can go ahead and talk about that, your thoughts on the street fight right afterwards before we get out of here, so we can go ahead and take care of that because you are a good fan of ours, and we want to definitely get your thoughts on this because we know how much you like women's wrestling. Mike the Ref also coming in and saying, where is the Lola Vice celebration party going to be? In the Lululand with you and Andre in Edmonton at a bar where you guys are drinking your sorrows away after she loses a heat wave. That's where you can find it. As for me, you can go ahead and find me on Twitter at edfries12584. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/edfries2002. We just recorded, we did a live show yesterday. Not many people were there, but you can go ahead and catch me and Ash doing talking takeovers. We talked all about Takeover Rival, the women's fatal four-way, the women's NXT horsewoman fatal four-way, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens in the first technical knockout in NXT history. A number one contenders tournament that set up three matches on one card. So that's one hell of a tournament because they weren't all tournament matches on the show. So you can go ahead and check that out. And we talk about a brand new tag team new to us on Talking Takeover, a brand new tag team that you're going to recognize bits and pieces of. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. Next Wednesday, we're going to be coming back, me and my other tag team partner, Andre C., Lola Vice's most delusional number one fan. We're going to be sitting here and talking all things Age of Ultron. We're finally here. Age of Ultron, Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. So go ahead and check that out on Marvel Talk next Wednesday night, 10 p.m., right after Dynamite next week. So you can go ahead and catch that. And let's go to the comments section and see what we got here. We got Millie coming in saying that street fight was sick. The face plant into the chair that didn't move was nasty. And the bump into the wall hurt you. Yeah, it was. We spoke glowingly of it. We thought that Mia Yim did an amazing job putting Jaida Parker on the map with that match. Not that Jaida Parker hasn't already been on the map, but she made Jaida Parker an even bigger star than she already was. We talked about that moment where the cameras catch Mia Yim again, celebrating and being surprised and being so full of joy watching Jaida Parker celebrate that big win. They trashed Tatum Paxley's house in that match. So that was great. Yeah, just all kinds of fantastic stuff. Mike says, I am the chair. Nice shout out to Matthew over there for, I am the table. So I like that. Millie says, black and gold era for life. Yeah, we're starting to get into the black and gold era here. Unstoppable is next, and that's going to be the real turning point, because after that it's Brooklyn 1, and then that we're straight into black and gold once we get to Brooklyn, because that's definitely the heyday of black and gold.
I think she means about Mia's shirt though, because she was wearing that shirt tonight too.
Mia Yim was wearing all the old school NXT stuff. I did see that. That was great. Millie Rose says also Lola might.
No.
Oh, you're gonna be real sad when you watch. Millie, I need you to come back next week after you've watched this show, or find one of us on Twitter and tell us what you thought of our opinion of this segment, because it's going to be vastly different than you. Mike says, yes, one more. No, Mike, stop recruiting people to your Lola Vice cult. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Stop. But the only Kool-Aid we're going to be drinking is the Kool-Aid of this man right here, Chef Shawn, as he cooks up another great premium live event this weekend. For Astrid, I am Ed. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Everyone is watching me when I'm gone.